This is my 3D model of the larynx, and I will briefly go over each structure that makes up this larynx. So first, we have the trachea, which is shown by the empty toilet paper roll in brown. The trachea is a wide, hollow tube that connects the larynx to the bronchi of the lungs and provides airflow to and from the lungs for respiration. The purple clay represents the tracheal rings, and they don't form a complete ring, which you can see from the posterior view, because it is a shared wall between the trachea and the esophagus. The thyroid cartilage is shown in light blue, and this structure forms the bulk of the front wall of the larynx and protects the vocal folds, which are located directly behind it. And it also forms a laryngeal prominence, also known as the Adam's apple for men. The hyoid bone is shown by the pink structure that I'm pointing to right here, which is the U-shaped, horseshoe-shaped bone that is above the hyoid cartilage but below the mandible and serves as the attachment point for a bunch of muscles. And it suspends the laryngeal skeleton through ligamentous and muscular connections. The epiglottis is this flap that you see here in purple. It helps to guard the laryngeal inlet from the inadvertent entry of food or liquid from the respiratory tract into the respiratory tract during swallowing. The base of the epiglottis is attached to the thyroid cartilage, as shown here. The cricoid cartilage is the green structure, which also you can see from the front as well. And this structure, the cricoid cartilage and the thyroid cartilages, change the length of the vocal ligaments due to the synovial joint. The arytenoid cartilages are shown in pink, kind of hard to see, but they're inside there. So these structures, the pink structures here, so there's two arytenoid cartilages, and they sit on top of the cricoid cartilages on the posterior view, which is what you're seeing right here. And the apex articulates with the corniculate cartilage, which is right up here. And they allow the vocal folds to be tensed, relaxed, or approximated. And the corniculate cartilages are the little purple triangles that sit on top of the arytenoid cartilages, and they articulate with the arytenoid cartilages and serve to prolong them backwards and medial. Next up, we have the muscles of the larynx. So the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle is the two red structures right here. So this muscle is the fan-shaped muscle of the posterior surface of the cricoid cartilage. It is innervated by the recurrent laryngeal nerve of the vagus nerve, and its function is to laterally rotate the arytenoids and open the glottis. The lateral cricoarytenoid muscles are what you see in yellow here and on this side as well. This muscle is located deep to the thyroid cartilage, as you can see, and is innervated by the recurrent laryngeal nerve of the vagus nerve. Its function is to close the glottis. And then the interarytenoid muscles, so there are two. We have the transverse interarytenoid muscle, which is the gray, and we have the oblique interarytenoid muscles, which is the orange. So the oblique fibers cross between the arytenoids to form an X and are located superficial to the transverse fibers. Both of these muscles approximate the vocal folds, closing the glottis, and are innervated by the recurrent laryngeal nerve of the vagus nerve. The thyroarytenoid muscles are the inner muscles, and there are two. So the white pipe cleaner is also known as the vocalis, and the yellow is the other thyroarytenoid muscle, the yellow toothpicks. So they decrease the tension on the vocal ligaments depending upon the coactivation of other intrinsic muscles, such as the cricothyroid. And both of these thyroarytenoid muscles are innervated by the recurrent laryngeal nerve of the vagus nerve. And last but not least, we have the cricothyroid muscle, which is the red structure here. The cricothyroid muscle decreases the distance between the thyroid and the cricoid, and it pulls the thyroid anteriorly, lengthening and thinning the vocal folds and increasing the longitudinal tension and pitch of the vocal folds. And unlike the other muscles, this muscle is innervated by the external branch of the superior laryngeal nerve of the vagus. And again, that is my 3D model of the larynx.